All right. Let us continue, right? We're going to continue with the Keys of Enoch 201. Last video we was just talking about that symbol, remember? And then we stopped at 19, right? That you do not have permission to go, right? Let us move on. 20, right? When I was taken on a legion ship, right? When you're taken on a legion ship, that is basically a chariot. Um, why is that skipping? Hold on, y'all. The jams is I wonder if it's because it's kind of. Let's put it back a little. It could be the signal because I'm far in the back of the yard, right? So it just means they stuff sucks. They signals suck if I can't get, because it ain't that far back there, but it's far, but not to where I shouldn't pick up my signal. Um, 20. When I was taken on a legion ship, chariot, right? I saw how the L conversion system is composed of 10 pulsating pyramids of light, 5 of which are aligned on top and 5 are inverted so as to create the appearance of 5 diamonds. Within each diamond are pulsating sets of dots showing the star patterns, right? As seen from the vehicle. So they're talking about this symbol here. 5 pyramids, right? One, two, three, four, five. We said 5. Now, because I'm indigenous, right? And because I know my ancestors and our original history, that 5 represents more than just pyramids. Um, like we have a whole history um, behind that, so, and that's not in here. But, right? They've got 10 and then they've got 5. They've got 10 pulsating ones of light and then, which 5, right? 5 on each side. It's like a symbol that you look at and you can see multiple things basically, right? I mean, it's telling you it's diamonds, so that's like your chakras when they say you become crystallized, right? You be Christalized, right? You realize, right? You do have a higher self, and you can be that, right? Okay. Within each diamond are pulsating sets of dots, right? Showing the star patterns, right? Dots, right? You know what that means. uh, Study your Mayan and Olmec history. Study your dots, right? Um, and yeah, star patterns. Okay, so this is basically saying what's behind the door. Um, you're able to see this far. You're able to go on chariots, things of that nature. When you're back in heaven, you get to experience things that only heaven can. So this is more like a spiritual thing. It's an inner thing. It's your inner temple, right? It's when you go inside your inner temple, inside yourself. You know, those who actually did it and were successful, you found out a lot of things, right? Um, 21. So that would be an ability, right? And then it says L, right? So you would have to be a future law, basically. Um, Once again, this is something that only a king can do. These are like king abilities if that makes sense. But it's like there's only one that can top them all, right? Which would give you the Caesar crown, Caesar, right? It's just another word for crown. That doesn't mean that the person who was wearing it is theirs, if that makes sense. Um, if you overstand what happened in history, when you figure out what El really means, it takes you back to your Elohim, right? And your elders are your ancestors, right? So if there are any L's living today, it would be the children of those ancestors, right? Who have been able to go through these processes that they talk about from the beginning of the book all the way up to where we are. So once again, it's a process that you can't lie about. It's like evolution and stuff like that. 21. First, a known model of the star system is fed into the unit. Then, through a series of light pulses, patterns from the stars are interfaced between the pyramidal angles of the first and last pyramid. So the first known model of the star system is fed into the unit. So origin, basically saying origin goes first. Um, then through a series of light. So origin goes through first, and they go through this process of light. You know, because only they can survive it. Plus, it being made new. Angels of the first and last pyramid. That's the beginning and the end, right? And then this process is the middle. It's what happens inside of you. You know, and your angels, right? It says angels, but pyramidal angels. Um, so if you from, like I said, if you from heaven, you go back to heaven. If you from hell, you go back to hell. That's where you started. That's where you end. The middle was the choice that you made. So when you made the bad choice, you went down. When you made the good choice, you went up. This is something that happens within you. Like I said, it's only you have only that individual have the right to make a choice, to make a call. Um, if that makes sense. How I say that angels skip right over you, right? Because you're not. They know. They know who is who. So this is only happening in those individuals, and the angels are basically seeing it through from start to finish. Is what this is. And when we as a nation worked through that, um, it took us from our middle into our end, and then accepting it and moving on took us from our end to our beginning. You know, we are Israel, right? Doesn't change. Um, so that puts us back in our beginning with our angels from our first Genesis, right? Those are some angels you don't want to mess with, right? Which are the same ones that come back in the end, which is your last pyramid. This is your end times, right? So it's telling you. Look, they're putting prophecy right here and here again. This is done through the starship's light sensory system, which picks up pulsations of light from the star's vertical A-line vectors, which are received and transmitted to the baseline of the first pyramid. Now, this explains the rituals. This explains the keys. Uh, the A-line would just be your frontliners, the vectors who were next to receive, right? These will be your players on the board, your pawns, people looking to receive, basically. Um, but here's the thing, this is referring to the real people, it's not referring to the fake ones. So this is not a process that's happening in them. Um, what they're doing is more of a 3D process. This is more of a spiritual process, right? To the baseline, right to the baseline of the first pyramid. Um, that means, like I said, you can't travel to a time that you have never existed in. Like in the beginning there was only a specific set of people, and then over time it became other people. So it's like you can't travel back to a time that you did not exist in. But if you did exist in it and you are doing this, you can, right? Because you come from that place, so you can get back to it, right? That's that whole, in order to know where you're going, you got to know where you came from situation. Um, yeah, so basically, we have archangels, but I think everybody knows that, right? They've done enough damage to know that. Um, I'm gonna finish that, and then I want to stop. I want to talk about that toad. Um, There they met with pulsating beelines of anti-light measurement, which are received as vertical lines from the star's reverse vectors, right? They tell you it's an anti, it's against the light, and then they tell you that it's received as a reverse vector. So that means um, this is like a war. Um, this is like they're saying A is good and B is bad, and so like they go to, it's almost like it's saying there's a spiritual war that starts to happen. um I was gonna say, and when you're on a lower level, that's what'll happen to you, a warfare. um but if you're not, because you're working with light, so you would just be the A line vectors. You would actually become like 22, where you both A and B lights will synthesize at the base by third light power generated in the L conversion system. So that's basically saying that the two, the way I'm looking at this is an ancient war. Um, A and B, A and B used to be the same, but then A and B turned against each other because one was against the light, right? That means one fell, the fallen. Um, so that's angels and then fallen angels. Um, and it's saying because the ones who deal with the light are able to see higher in situations, um, they end up becoming, they end up merging with Beeline because they overstand, right? The two sticks have to become one. Um, and they're telling you the third light power generated, right? Generated, that would basically be Abraham and David's, and then, his kingdom, and, their Elohim conversion system. Um, From the combined synthesis, the diamond subsets are used to form the various discharges into a matrix for alpha omega analysis. I mean, do you hear this? This is where you basically, this is saying that our Elohim is what we had needed this whole time, right? Our Father, our Creator, our knowledges. It's our beginning and our ending. And then what we lost comes back to us because we are the beginning of our ending, right? That means that the if you think of that as like a sliding scale, um, it's really bad for the lives. And see, this is changing again. We're gonna stop right there though, because I want to talk about that toad. I put him in the. I was gonna let him go free, but I wanted to kind of record him a little bit. So I put him in the can, and I put a bar on top of it, and I put a tool on top of it, enough to at least hold him there, because I know he couldn't move the weight, because it weighs more than him. So when I came back, he was gone, and the bar was still on the top, and the tool was still on the top of it. So I'm like, well, if he at least would have jumped out, he should have at least knocked the whole thing over. That's not what happened. So I'm like, dang, I wish I could have recorded what he did. Because I'm like, I know he weighs less than the bar and tool. So then I found him, and then I put him back in there, and I'm like, I'm gonna record him, to see what he does. And I put it upside down though, so he was on the bar was on the bottom, and he was the tube thing can was on top of him. So he started pushing the can, and it was sliding across. So if he'd have kept going, he would have got out. Um, so I flipped it back the other way because I wanted to see how he got out that way. And I waited, and I thought he was gonna like keep trying to bounce it with his head to try and lift it and then eventually get out. But I'm like, that does not make sense because he weighs less than what I got on the top. And then I recorded him, and he literally just squeezed right on through the bars, like easy, like it was nothing. Sat on the top for a bit, and then he jumped, right? So it's like he didn't even get out the way that I thought he got out. But that's like what just happened here in with the world, right? That's crazy. And then he made me want to go and get the keys and read the keys. So, because that was interesting. That was interesting. When you get to measure the animal's intelligence. So he wasn't trapped because I was gonna let him go, but I wanted to see how he escaped, and I saw him again. So, and it wasn't even what I was thinking, because he was fat. So like, I didn't think he went through the bar. That's funny. All right. He was like, yeah, give him. If he got out, that let him get. Just give him his freedom, right? That was interesting, though. Let's do 23. This operates as a shift register. Look, a shift, right? We're just talking about a shift, because that's what it sounds like. A shift. It shifted. Let's see. When this is basically saying when the Elohim comes back, um, the shifts start happening. Judgment. It's like everybody's on the judgment belt, and it moves at certain time intervals and stuff, right? In other words, healing thyself is how you win. It's how you get better. It's how you grow. It's how you prosper. You know. But people can't heal, right? This operates as a shift register. If the star that appears in the diamond subset, which is one is which is one focal point of measurement on one end of one conic section, is seen also within the repeating diamond subset and another conic section, which is opposite and removed in parallel phase from the former. The two confirm that the star is still go, and the dots align perfectly as a verification of its position. Okay, so what that's saying is that they can measure it, and what they see is how people can say they see the dot inside of the sun. There is a dot inside of the sun, right? Um, okay, this is maybe I shouldn't talk about this. Um, yeah, I ain't gonna talk about this. It's basically talking about being in alignment. Let me see if I can give you the basic, right? Because it's going up into the stars and stuff, and it's just, um, alignment is like a verification of it. Okay, so what you do is like a sign. Um, you know, it's a sign of the times. So if you got people of color running around saying they all these different things, and some of them saying they Hebrew, some of them saying they're indigenous, some of them saying they Cherokee, some of them saying they black, some of them saying they African American, um, some of them's trying to mark other things. That's a sign to the system, that things are changing. So it's saying when when things start changing like that, which would be a verification of a position, which is change. Um, they want to know what's going on, so they look for verification, right? And then they find out that the dots are aligned, that they have the green light to go, which means they in order with they in alignment to their heavenly Father, their heavenly Mother, the angels, the ancestors, you know, them, right, thyself, connected back into like your higher self is what it's saying. Seeing the people of color change and go in different directions. Um, it means something has happened, right? To cause that. This kind of going into like an experimentation situation here with this one. But they're saying that the outside of it is different, but the inside is consistent. So it's able to align perfectly, right? And which is telling you that its position is what? Central, right? And this is going to turn into, okay, because I see equations coming up. I knew it. Yep, and numbers. Oh, this don't look very fun. What did I just go into? I guess this is like the science and stuff behind it. This is a strange key. Let's see if I even want to go through this one. I mean, if I'm going to go through it, I'm going to. But if I have a choice, I don't think I want to continue. This one, oh, but it's only a page left, so maybe we should just do it, right? Um, in addition, 24. In addition, another run is made to give the magnetic and color properties of the light patterns coming off stars, showing the exact aging process of life and the specific life track being occupied by any number of species intelligence associated with that star. What? Did you hear that, right? The species intelligence that's associated with that star, right? What's that telling you? um, Let me see. They're saying that made to give that magnetic and color properties. Do you remember that cartoon called Moon with that blue? What the hell was he? They were like these blue creatures that lived in the night, and they was like lambs or something. Um, I forgot what they were, but they represented the moon people, and then there was another tribe that represented the sun, and they were like they were fire. Well, how did the wax girl fit it? Well, she would be fire. Well, why does she keep melting? I'm gonna have to go watch that again. But the point is, maybe I need to. I ain't seen it nowhere lately. But it took a lot of our indigenous tales where you had Master Tortoise and Turtle Island and he would be Shing Fa or something like that. Or back in those days, you were basically taught that there was a captain of the ship, like I said. Um, They're saying they're also captains of the stars. You know, that there's basically saying there is otherworldly beings out there. Um, you know, and that there are some people here who, you know, sometimes the sign, you know, if like I said, when we own our things, maybe I shouldn't talk about that. And basically, there's otherworldly life that's out there, and that there's a species that is that's tasked with the duty of knowing the land, knowing the earth, knowing the signs, knowing the weather, you know, things of that nature, like an earth tribe, an earth clan, and that would be the species intelligence. That would be the this would connect into that's probably why I said star intelligences. This would connect into our Hopi indigenous you know, tales where, you know, the people of the stars were going to come back, you know, to the planet around the time when some stuff is going to go down, and they will teach, they will save, you know, a select amount of people, and they will take them to a new earth where they will teach them, you know, how the old ways of living on that planet. If that's where they get all these movies from too. Um, that's what number 24 is talking about. Basically, that's a simpler way to say it. It's a magnetic, you know, when you connect it, you root it to the planet, you root it to the earth, you root it to the light, the rays, right? The sun, the rays, the moon, right? Um, why does it say exact aging process of life? Okay, for example, that would be like the planet is evolving, so the planet's first clan would be evolving, which is that Earth tribe, right? Those people who are and they're in charge of keeping track, right? Specific life track with the intelligences, right, that are associated with the star, which would just be the planet, right? We are supposed to know these things as tribes, um, you know, as the people of the lands, you know. So let me see what time. We good on time? You know, it's like the A lines, right, which would be the alpha and the omega. That means you're the beginning and the ending. Um, you would be the ones who would this you would be this A line vector. You would be the ones who this process would happen in, you know, because you're the most righteous, right? If you always denying the true people, you're never righteous. Um, so you know you should know you will never win. Um, if that makes sense, right? Only only the one who the heavenly Father. This goes back to your Adam and Eve, right? Your guardians, your earth, your, you know. Um, it goes back to Adam and Eve, right? Because it's like Adam was given the planet, right, and Eve. So no matter what species comes about on the planet, when it's time for the planet to go back to who it belongs to, it's going to go back to those first two, no matter what people say, regardless. That this is what happens. Um, it's basically just describing another sign, a prophecy sign of the end times. So when you're in the end times, that's because somebody is in the beginning times, if that makes sense. Um, but if you overstand realms, and I heard jurisdictions, planetary, then you know um, you're separated. So it's like they want to be like your villain, but it's like you can never be that because we are two separate people. What happens to you happens to you. What happens to me happens to me. Do you see? And it's like they want to try. It's like they want to try and project themselves into you. And it's like the people who go into this light star process system here. They become the alphas on the block, right? They become the alphas and the omegas, right? Because they did that inner work within themselves, in their center, to go through all of this. And it's like I said, here in 20, they said when I was taken on, right, a legionship, that's when Enoch went up. That was more of them went up. I can tell you that because we came from down there. So I mean, or coming out of heaven to earth, right? Going from earth back into heaven. Everybody goes back to where they came from. The end times was leaving the Middle Ages and going into the end times. That was that shift that happened in 2019. Yep. And that's what this is talking about. When it's time for the planet to go through an L conversion, it's going to go through the L conversion regardless of what anyone says. Because it's time. It's time for that matrix. Um, there's going to be a particular species that's going to know what's going on, right? They're going to know the exact aging process of life, of what's happening. I wouldn't say exact, but unless the Heavenly Father shows you something that is exact, right? But we now know that the planet was dying this whole time because we were not in our proper orders, and we were not caring for it as we should, because we was somewhere else, thinking we was from another country, thinking we was from another um, tribe, the lost tribe, right? Being found, they think being found has something to do with where you are or how many people know you. Being found is an inner thing. It truly is, right? And you will know when you'll know when you've been found within thyself, right? It's a beautiful ass feeling, right? It's something can't nobody take from you. They try. This is where they get the whole make you doubt yourself, or make you doubt what you believe, or doubt what you know. And it's like, no, we've seen enough to know that what's coming is coming, because we are that is intelligence species that is associated with that star. And we can see some exact signs, right? That lets us know that the end times, right? That's when the people start waking up, when more of them start waking up, and then the right ones wake up to hold that light. And then that means it's time, right? That's what all this is talking about. If you want to put it in basic terms, um, it's a magnetic thing. It's just a thing that happens, a thing you feel, a thing that you know. And when you know, you go. If you're supposed to go, you go. If you ain't, you don't. Um, but it's in you, just like it's in a demon to do something that they know they ain't supposed to be doing. Um, you know, that's that. Those who will hear the call will come, and those, that situation, the ones who will answer the call, um, for the Heavenly Father, right? This is a higher level thing here, because you're taking on a legionship. That's like an angelic chariot, right? Literally. And you really think an angelic chariot finna just let you board? Nah, right? So it's basically like an inner, when you clean up your inner self, it allows inner things to come, clean, good things to come and, house itself inside of you. And you start to make better choices and stuff. And it's like people who chose to be nasty, chose to be marked by nasty, right? nasty things set inside of them. So you got people being nasty, or it's like when the reset happened, everything went back to its origin based on where it was from. So um, if you was nasty, acting like you wasn't, you went back to being nasty. And if you wasn't nasty, but people were saying you was nasty, um, it goes back to people not saying that you're nasty. Do you see? Because when you walking with the Heavenly Father, or you walking in His grace, He's keeping you safe against all odds and things of that nature. That kind of shines light on how you live. You see, because the Heavenly Father ain't gonna just keep you know you know what I'm saying. He's not gonna keep no bad apples. Crying out loud, would you keep bad apples? Would you eat bad apples? No. So why do you think the Heavenly Father wants bad apples, right? It's something like that. Um, if you, I'm trying to give y'all a lot of examples here to kind of, yeah, because I don't want to go into these equations, man. I'm gonna skip over it. It's like, what is it for? Um, the process of this light process has nothing to do with equations, unless those are codes. Because I see some initials in here, honey. Oh, they are codes. That's not equations. Okay, okay, that makes okay. Well, then let's go through them since they codes. Because you don't need any equations. Like, it's just they just. Okay, let's go with 25. But we would be the intelligent species that's telling people, um, the planet is saying that it's the end times, right? When it's time for the people to stand up, they stand up, right? When it's time for the people to fall, they fall. It's like the end of empires. Like empires end is what it's and the only empire that survives is the origin, because it's an earth reset. Earth is not going to reset and keep the false synthetic versions. It does not do that because it needs its origin, right? That species intelligences, right? Who it can work with the best. It can align with the best, right? Same creator. Um, origin species is what I'm saying to this planet. They actually origin species from a different realm in time and space. So that's where they go back to. Everybody got sent back to their origins, uh, if that makes sense, right? It's like one of those situations where this is like some planetary time travel. I'm trying to think of other movies, but it's like I don't want to keep going that way. So think of it as like it's talking about planetary travel, time travel, um, things of that nature. When it's time for the planet to do what it has to do, the planet wakes up its original pilot, captain, crew, its people, because it needs them first, because they're going to be the ones, protecting and keeping it safe. I keep nature safe. I keep Earth safe. Um, if that makes sense, and a part of that is giving it its freedom, right? So if the planet decides it's going to just hit you with a tornado or something, or just go ahead and move the land from underneath you, right? Because it's had enough of your shit. It's things like that. Um, it's just like you have living waters, you have a living earth. So I mean, and there's all kinds of stuff out there. So you know, only a species intelligence that's associated with the planet is going to wake up, because we're the ones who, if you somebody who you had that urge to study, to show yourself approved, and you really did it, and it wasn't just you clouting, or you talking about some I'm studying, right? Or you studying the proper books and you're not studying the colonized stuff. Um, and you just kept going and you kept going and you kept going to where whatever it is that you have been trained in, like a damn expert in it, that it's not even hard. It's like breathing for you to figure out, you know, to figure things out that's going on with the planet, right? This is why they said this is the same thing. The species, okay, the species intelligence of the planet would be Israel. How they always went to Israel to find out the meaning of things because they knew first, right? They are a species intelligences, right? They can speak. They know the planet. We know the earth. Um, you know, we know it's like our mommy, right? Um, if that makes sense. This is just another evolutionary process that happens. In other words, it's saying when the king is up, the kings are up, and then the people are up, right? And then everybody's up, and then everybody goes like this is those who went up. This is something that happens in them. It's not what happens in these people that go up. The opposite happens in those who are going down, but they have it double down if you overstand. Because they ain't the alpha or the omega. So they actually are the ones who the vortexes are eating up, the valleys are eating up, um, those vectors, the reverse vectors, right? These would be the false vectors. These would be your false people. This would be like why you have, if you notice, the real crowns, they're still here, and the false crowns are not. Um, the real shepherds are here, and the false ones are not. Um, the real the real light the real light what's the word I'm looking for here? I want to say temples. The real light people are here and the false ones are not. Do you see? um, these are the ones who had the go on these ones they went on their green light, right? But they had to first get through that liberation, right? I mean, this if you simplify this right here, this is proven that the people are of the book are the people who were put into slavery because this here is saying that like I said, they had to go on the green light, but it's like they were the only ones who had to go, right? Everybody else had the red. So they had to first be liberated. They had to, study to free thyself, to become thy higher self, to work on becoming their higher self, right? In order to be able to even get to this process. So it's like it's telling you that the people who are the Alpha and the Omega are the ones who were oppressed. Um, but in order for us to know this, we would have to first know our first histories, like our beginnings, our genesis, to know that we were the beginning, the alphas, right? And then to know our books, to know that we become the omegas of our alphas in the ending, right? So it's like in the middle. That would be the era of where we went into slavery and we were put down and we were oppressed. Um, we would be the ones rising up in these end times, um, inside of ourselves, because we have the green light. We the people of the earth. We are this species intelligences that's associated with this star, right? So we're being woken up to for this inner process to happen. But it's like you kind of had to help. We kind of had to help our people because a lot of people were afraid to take that step. So it's like when you know that you, David, and you got the rock, and you looking at the giant Goliath, right? You already know you can defeat him because it's in your genes, right? Like this is crazy where this is going. This is what it's giving me though. So it's like you've been oppressed for so long and told that you were the wrong person. So when it was time for you to stand up and be who you are at a time when it would work for you, um, you had to first realize that it was that time. So you could take that step. So it's like coming out of oppression. Sometimes it's scary, but sometimes you got to take those steps because your life depends on it. For many of reasons, the Heavenly Father is telling you, to go and do these things, or it's like He's giving you like a stack of books, and He's like, I need you to read these, right? It's things like that. It's because we were oppressed. This can only refer to us because the Alpha and the Omega are both up, right? The oppression is down, um, where we was going into the captivity of Egypt, and then everybody else kept putting us down, right? So it's like our generation ain't never put them down um, to where they would be rising up to be the Omegas. Do you see? But then it's like when you understand that we are different species, right? Which is why our intelligences are different, which is why we can associate with stars and they cannot, right? When I was talking about Siri, and then it explains why we have our own Alpha and Omega, and then they would have their own Alpha and Omega, and it's not the same thing. Because we come from two different worlds, we're two different species intelligences, right? Um, we don't come from the same species. We don't come from the same creator intelligence. There you go. Um, you know, if you don't come from Abba Yah, you don't come from him. That just means you come from somewhere else, or you come from a man, like being created here. You're a smaller creation of a bigger thing, if that makes sense. But you're not from like the holy people come from the stars, and then the people that come after them come from the planet Earth, which is where you breed and you have children, and then you have those who were created in labs using other. That's your mad Dr. Jekyll and all them people who, experimented and made other animals and people, like um, and they kept going until they got one that looked just like people. It's things like that. Those experiments that caused a lot of judgments and stuff, and um, based on my research, that would be when the floods came because there were too many abominations walking the land. Do you see? They weren't creators of the Most High. The chariots on high. It was, you know, some stuff that man decided to do down here, right? Like how you have people on the planet who think it's okay to touch children, and then it's like that's not something that comes from heaven, right? That's like a judgment that comes from him downstairs, right? Um, so when people are forced to live in their sins, that's when they know, um, you know, even he's turned on them. Ooh, we just see, right? How long am I going? Because I don't want to go too long. Okay. 25, right? That's what this is all sounding like, though. And this only happens with the people of the Elohim, right? But that's how you know they ain't the people, because they've never been put down. Um, so they've never suffered. They've never went through Deuteronomies. They've never done any of this stuff that they say they've done, because they weren't even alive when that shit happened, right? It was a completely different species. Oh my God, they terrible. So when it's really time for this to happen, and which it is, which is why you saw that big old beautiful moon and that glorious sunset with that big dragon and stuff, um, that lets people know that that's the real L conversion system, right? That's operating. Um, the Heavenly Father, right? He's moving his stars and his planets, and he's doing things, and right. That's when people say that everybody knows it's over. They just they're trying to make it. They're using illusions and tricks to try to hang in there, but it's like that only works when you know the real thing didn't happen. So if you was pretending, then that would work, because you would be able to make it look like you are the hero, but you can't do that, because everything that you do makes you look like the monster, right? I like those sounds, lawnmowers. Something about them that's really calming, right? Kind of weird, but um, let's go to 25. Thus, by reading all manner of light appearance coming from the star, right, you can read your planet. This is why people look at telescopes to watch other planets to try and read them. And they try to decode the light colors, right? When the lights are different colors, how you got everybody tells you stars are white, or they tell you stars are yellow, but in most cases stars are blue, they pink, they purple, they green. Um, you rarely see white ones. Sometimes you'll see yellow. Sometimes they're brown. Um, but do you see? Um, Usually when they're white, it's because they're closer down here. In which you find out it's a light and it's just a chariot, right? Um, but then when they get down here where we can see them, the lights are not white at all. They just appear that way because of how the lights, like the fracture bending of the lights and stuff like that. Um, so a light just means anything shining, illuminating off of the star, right? The planet, firmament, right? Firmament would be light, and we know how to read it, right? The vehicle intelligence can juxtapose. I'm not sure what that is. Jew, right? Jew X tape ta oppose jux jazz. Well, you see the Jew right there, right? And then two sticks plus. Okay, keep going. The particle discharge, that's like a code that somebody put in there. The particle discharge is enabling the starship to immediately determine how many species live in a given light destiny. So that's like when a captain finds out how many people are going to survive, right? How given light density, how the species are organized according to communities and ecological systems. That's order. What type of energy, right? What type of energy and physical laws govern the species? Environment, right? That's your laws. And then many other geological, astronomical, and metatronic formulations, right? That just means future. Geological is your past. Astronomical would be your symptom, right? Um, so that just means we will become those like us will become astronomical um, in metatronic formulations in geological, species environment. There's your species intelligence, right? And then here they have species environment. So we go back to it's basically saying we go back to our indigenous, our origin, our original knowledges. Um, if that makes sense. So we all kind of become like teachers, right? Um, I don't say I'm a teacher, but do you understand what I mean when I say that we, you know, we're gonna do what we're supposed to do, and it's saying that it's a species thing. So it species just means it goes back to origin, which would be those first people, right? The magnetic, when it's if you've ever seen the Way of Water, uh, ain't got nothing to do with water, but and they don't have that movie was not had nothing to do with our waters. When it says the magnetic, that's what they would when she kept saying she can feel her and she feels mighty, right? Um, that's what that is talking about. It's a natural pull. That would be a species magnetic, right? Um, things like that. So um, we become one with the starship, right? The planet ain't gonna plug nobody into it that is not it does not belong to it. Um, so they're kind of just floating around. Um, if you look at it like that in space, ooh, that's scary. They're not grounded. There you go. They're not grounded, as in grounded in the planet because the planet rejects them, right? Because they're telling, they keep trying to put it's like they trying to put their code into something, and the code is rejecting them because it's telling them, um, it's not you, right? Like the planet knows who its children are. There you go. And it's not working with anybody but that. This is a species thing that's happening. So it's gone back to like survival of the species, kind of. That's what it sounds like. Right? That's just going back. It went back to the Jurassic Park, to the Avatar jungles, which would just be your Amazon jungles. Ooh, what is that? Confirmation, but still, what is that? Let me make sure it's not gonna go. And it did. But didn't even give me time, baby. So it didn't even give her time. All right, that's cool though. Let's give it some time to do what it does. I'll probably take a break anyway here. Let me plug this in here. Remove that. Let's take a break. Let that do its thing. We stopped on 2026, and we were talking about the floating in space and not being grounded. So that's pretty scary, right? That's creepy. If you look at it like that. Let me cut this off real quick. All right, let's keep going, right? Try to situate myself here. Hope that that's not too loud. Have to move it. Um, 26. The L conversion also measures and delineates antimatter zones. This is indispensable for the maintenance of midway stations. Um, this is something that you need. He measures and delineates. Let's see. For many midway stations are working at midpoints of galactic recombination and thus exposed to the influences of tremendous star degeneration. Ooh. Um, that's basically saying what the L does. Judges, he sanctions. he rectifies, whatever it is that he does. And this happens at the midway station. He's the maintenance of the midway station. Um, right now, if you understand our alliance, right, um, that just means the king, right? These are king duties. A L, right? A lord. Um, they try to steal it through the term landlord, but the lord. Just think of it as landlord, which would be the lord of the land, which would be the Lord in the Bible, right? Would just be the king, the one who's supposed to be the king. These are his holy books through his father David, right? And then it would be his holy books through his well, Abraham's my grandpa, so um, because he doesn't, our ancestors don't claim the ones who sold them out. So like it only leaves us, if that makes sense. Because I was gonna try to see if I can go through the lineup, but I'm like, even though they would be lineage, they would be the lineage that sold out. So ancestors don't deal with them. So I can't say, in other words, there's a Lord of Lords, there's a King of Kings, there's an L of L's, right? Um, this is where they come with the flipping the keys as well. Um, they go after the future laws, and we would be the future laws, but because we are awakened now, because this is not our end times, and that shift that they're talking about has already happened. We have gone into our L conversions, right? In which we can work with our Elohims, right? We can work with our Heavenly Father, our angels, our ancestors. We can work with the planet. We can work with nature. Um, you know, and then here it says it measures. So in the beginning, right, we have refining and things of that nature. And then those who are in their endings, they're being delineate. I keep hearing de-alienate, antimatter zones. So one's going up and one's going down. Um, and that the midway station, right? That's where you make that decision. Working midpoints, right? It's at a galactic recombination. So it's like you're recombining, redefining. Um, do you see? Like I'm supposed to know my land, right? Because I'm the chief's daughter, the chief's granddaughter. Um, do you see? I'm the crown, the royal, the land, the holy. Um, we are the avatars. You know, we're not supposed to be knowing. Um, our head should be filled up with knowledges of our culture, of our books, of our scriptures, of our stories. Um, you know, of our planet, of our Gartha, of our tribes, of our clans. The things we did, the things we built, the places we went, the things we discovered, right? Why do we not have, why do people feel like we don't have a right to know those things? And then you find out why, but it's like that's just unfortunate for them, right? So what happens is this whole process here, the star, right? Um, the star knows the planet knows its children basically. So it's like we learn outside of them, so we don't have to worry about we don't have to worry about missing our calling because our calling has nothing to do with other people. It's an inner thing, it's a self thing, it's a developing thing, right? I mean, it's kind of like if I go walking somewhere, what I experience is not going to be what the next person experiences if they were to walk there too, right? Because they're not inside my head. You see, these people are sick, man. So it's like nobody can ever follow your true path. Um, just like right now, we know, well, I know a lot about our ancient cultures, and I know more about my Mayan ancestry and history and ways and places and stuff, and any of them know, and they've been studying our Mayan ancestry since before we figured it out, right? Like it's crazy. Um, but that's the what is happening to us is this recombination that took place inside of our midway point stations inside of our bodies, right? Um, our this is your building up those chakras, becoming whole, that wholeness recombining you, and then you become like cosmic, right? Um, and thus exposed to influences of tremendous star degeneration. That sounds like death. Um, so those who are into the measures, you go into recombination, and those who got delineated, 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 right? You got sent into degeneration. So it's telling you, um, Metatron, right? Archangel Metatron, um, when he shows up on the board, right? How do you know what when Metatron's on the board? You have Armageddon in disguise, wars, fights. The fact that we know that everybody's against us and trying to hurt us, that counts as war. So, like, all of the prophecy signs, they came into play. Um, what time am I at? Is that an hour? Could I try to stop here soon? Because it's going to shut off at some point. Because of I got some other stuff I got to do on that. That take it off. You know what I'm saying? So I gave myself no more than an hour. Um, but this is basically telling you when you see that them solar flares and fires and fires in the sky and wartime and missiles and stuff like that, Armageddon in Armageddon. Um, and when you see the Elohim, that means those who took the measures went into the good place, and then those who took the delineates went into the bad place, which is Armageddon. These zones, these antimatter zone would be like a void, an empty space. This would be your valley of the dead, your dead seas, your shadow spaces, right? Those lower regions. Um, those who emptied out the cup and started again, you went into your recombinations, and then those who decided to continue drinking those dregs, you went into your degeneration, right? That means you are the earth is going to pass, um, man, 27. It's that same thing with the evolution of the planet. If you don't go up with it, eventually, you end up at a level that the planet can't tolerate. And so it has to leave you because the planet can only go up. Um, 27. To begin to define L, we must first define the monumentum of photon MC, right? Whose wavelength is, right? So then, if they give you an equation here, but it's actually a code. Now, when they say the photon of MC, um, that MC to me is a code, obviously. Um, they have to first define it. So they're basically saying in order for them to this is why they were studying us. In order for them to understand, they have to watch. They have to study the original people is what they're saying. Um, I mean, just think about it. When we was kids, we would create stuff and they would always take it, right? Right? And it was always that everybody want to be black, and they always take what we do and they try to do it, things like that, which was, that just meant we was trendy as hell, um, and we were. So this is basically saying that they Just like you see here with the symbols, they've got the H and they've got the Y, right? That's still Hawa, right? And then they've got it here again. The beginning is the end. So they're basically saying that this MC would basically be this shepherd Arcturus. Basically, there's a lineage that comes from the Christ. But we all know that, right? We already know that the holy books are family books, like literally. Um, and common sense should tell you that there's still some lineages here on the planet, right? Otherwise, there wouldn't be an Israel, right? If we were not a real people, when the world tried to make us go away, it would have worked, but it didn't because we exist. Um, they're saying to define L, they have to first define this. The speed, right? The speed of Hawa, right? The speed of the house of Israel is what I'm getting. Um, to me, sound like Maccabees, right? MC, um, which would also be the key. C, which would be a key crown, a key, Aki, right? 28. So they know this book is exposing a lot of stuff. Um, what an MQ dangerous. Mm-mm-mm. Furthermore, in the transformation of matter E, right, defined as MC2. So that's saying that there's two, two seals, right, side by side. Shit. I remember somebody put that on the internet. I'm like, oh, okay, right. Um, defined as MC squared, will ultimately construct the portal line between the physical and spiritual universe where E equals 2 pi h2 nh. Now, if you see that as a code, it's really not a scientific thing here. It's not a rocket science. It's not rocket science if you read it as letters, right? Um, there are no numbers, right? They want you to think you're looking for numbers, but you're not. Like I just told you, that H and that Y, that's not an equation. It's not a number. That's your Hawa. That's your. Remember the cover of the Keys of Enoch, right? That looks like the H and the Y, doesn't it? That's your Yah, flipped upside down, which is your N, right? Didn't I tell you you flip that down, and then that N becomes your A, which is, or it could become N. Um, it depends on how you want to flip that. Ooh, we got some sirens. Maybe somebody's car flipped again. Our cars be flipping, honey, flipping like crazy. Um, E. So they're basically telling you that there's two of these MCs, right? And that MCs give me the mic, right? You're Mike, Archangel Michael, right? And it just keeps going. Um, the the voice to speak to who, right? To Elohim. I guess they thought they were gonna steal that. And Elohim looking like where? Let them talk into their bones, right? Elohim, like, turn the volume down and let them talk into their bones. So this right, because they're basically saying that there are two. This is your keys. They're basically saying that there are two keys that open up the door, and it open. These are Stargate. They're looking for Stargate keys. They so retard. Oh Lord. And that it will. Oh, ooh, this is juicy. It will open up a portal uh, between the physical and the spiritual universe. So the physical will be the 3D, the spiritual will be the 5D, right? This ties back into those ancient stories where they talk about the bad ones who want to try and climb all the way up to heaven so they can try to break in and destroy it up there. You know, people with those ideologies. And it's like that would never happen. Um, it's almost like it's the same thing with the explorers and the people that came over here under those titles who was really coming to steal and stuff. It's like them hearing about our legends, right? Do you see those bushes right there in front of you? Um, I was raised to believe that these were just woods, right? Now that I'm older and I've done enough studying, I studied geography, geology, right? The planet, the ecosystem, right? Stuff like that. The plants, the beings, the natures, the species, right? Um, I was taught that those were just woods. But now that I know those woods, I'm like, hold up. We're not niggers walking around the USA. We are indigenous people walking around the Amazons. I stay in the Amazon area. Now, they want us to think that the Amazon is only down there in their Central America, but that's not Central America. Central America, if you know your geography, is the part of America where it's just jungle. Like I stay in the jungles. I stay in the Mayan and Olmec jungles, if that makes sense. Um, and they always want us to think, oh, something fell on me. A stick. Okay. They always want us to think that those jungles are only down there in those lower areas, and it's like, no, that's not the case. Just like they want you to think there's pyramids, there's pyramids all over this country. It's not just in one area, um, is what I'm saying. But like, just like we have our deserts over in the east, um, and our canyons, we've got canyons everywhere, but the deserts, we have our beaches on the coast, and then we have our deserts in the east. Um, I would be where the jungle, the Amazons are. We're called the Ozarks. You know, and I've learned this because I've traveled from one side of our country to the other side, and where I live is predominantly green, green plants, green trees, green jungles, farms. There are no deserts here, if that makes sense, but we do have sands. Um, so, like, I had to study and hang out with my ancestors and, go on nature walks and do things like that for me to realize I'm not a nigger. I'm the Mayan that's originally been here. And because I was raised like a Gentile, um, I was not able to understand that these are my jungles. Do you see? So if I pour out the cup and start again with my ancestors, um, I'm able to learn my jungles very well. And I'm like, these are the same damn Amazon jungles that they show you on those movies, but they're putting the wrong people in the woods, right? And it's upsetting to realize that because they always want you to think them Amazon jungles is down there. No, this is the Amazon. This is the Ozarks, right? They call it the Osage, right? A lot of hills, a lot of mountains. We have a lot of Olmec thing, a lot of behind the walls though, hidden behind the veil. But we have a lot of Olmec and Mayan things all over this country. Um, we have a lot of AD things too. That's why we have the Black Madonna, right? Um, if you've ever seen the cartoon El Dorado, they was trying to get to the jungles. Um, that's basically just the center of America. Um, Now you got to understand the center of America that they teach you, and then the actual center of America. Um, if that makes sense, they try to put it down there in the South, or down. But if you look at your map of the country of America, Mexico is still in America. That's where a lot of the pyramids, the ones that are outside are. But there's more all over America, is what I'm saying. They're not just down there. That's just what they tell you. So these are not just woods, they're not just bushes. Um, these are the Amazons, just like how some of us live by the beaches. You live by the beach, I live in the Amazon. Do you see? And I was never taught that as a child. So to learn that now, because I deal with my ancestors so heavy, it's like, these the same stories that they be talking about when they be down there. It's all the same forest, right? But when they make those stories about them being in those jungles, that jungles just means great, bushes and things of that nature, right? Just like over in Cali, their forest would be the redwoods. Our forest would be the Amazons. Do you see? Or like over towards like Jersey and over in those areas, even over in the Carolinas, even in Virginia, like the mountains, that would be like their forest, right? And this would be the Amazons, if that makes sense. They try to teach you that these places are in other areas, and it's like, no, I still live in the Amazons. I live in the Osage. They teach us that this where I live is separate from the Osage, but it's not. It's all the same thing. You know how they put city markers and regions, and they start cutting, like how they say Mexico is separate and Canada is separate, but it's all still America. Do you see? So it's only separate because they said it's separate, but it's still the same land. Our tribes still traveled all throughout them, is what I'm saying. So I live in the Amazons, right? We've got those muddy rivers. Um, in other words, if the Missouri River, the Mississippi River, um, what other rivers are there? I'm trying to think of the main ones. If those rivers run through where you are, you would classify as being in the Amazons, right? That would also be your southern stories, if that makes sense. You know, your down souths, your bayous, right? If that makes sense. Let's keep going though. But this is basically talking about a portal. Um, that, you can go. Okay, and then here it says the transformation of matter. So it's saying, like, this is what I'm saying. Those who chose to go within thyself into thy inner temples to heal thyself. When you went inside yourself, you actually changed. Um, is what this is saying. So those who these are just be the people who made it through that threshold, who made it through that 2021, who was able to go from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. When I was talking about that stuff, it's right here in the book. And then it says where in equals matter transformation, and in just to me just means child, um, or like somebody who went within, right? And that means your DNA, you went through the DNA transformation. Is somebody yelling? um, And then if you look at that symbol, it says E equals 2 pi H2, right? Which would just be 2 pi, which will also be, let's not go into that. I don't think that's something people need to know. It doesn't matter. Um, it would just be entertaining if you like to break down codes. 29, and we'll stop at 30. This formula shows how the energy interaction equals matter transformation acted upon by the light constant squared. Um, So the formula is showing how it interacts, the energy interacts, right, to equal out the matter. Fusion, it sounds like fusion, right? That's all it sounds like. Fusion of light. When you have, in order for you to cross over those thresholds, you have to be in your light body, right? You can't be a dark body trying to cross some stuff that requires you to be light. So it's saying that this formula shows you how to fusion to become that light using Hawa, right? So it's like they sit up and talk hella crazy about our cultures and belief systems and what we believe in, but they behind the curtains, honey. Studying this shit heavy as a mug. Let me tell you, that's what that is. Their whole system's built off of using the keys. Um, so what they did is they I told you they fragmented and shattered themselves in the space time continuum and the flow of reality. Um, if that makes sense. And it's like they don't see this, but it's like if you just stand to the side and watch, man, right? I mean, people thought it was going to be the mark of the beast and, having to have a chip in your arm to go and buy food and, wicked people running around naked and taking your kids. And, I mean, that stuff's only happening for the people who chose the New World Order, right? But, like, for the rest of us, no, that's not the case. Um, what they remember before all this happened, they used to try to put fear in you and make you think that their people knew everything and you know, um, they were going to do this and they was going to do that. No, no, you better go and get this shot and you better, bullshit, right? Because that's not what's happening here at all. Like this is going in a completely different direction, right? Because we still here, right? We still move around how we want, right? There ain't no goddamn fugitives. You can't just knock on our door and you're going to jail, right? You have to think twice before you knock. Like we need a legit excuse to disturb the majesty. And she kind of got all of us by the balls right now. So let's just not bother her, yeah, right? Let's just ignore her, you know, right? But you just gotta look at it as that's your sovereignty, because you still see them, dragging their coons across the street, but now they dragging everybody across the street. They don't give a fuck what you look like, as long as you ain't no Israel, right? No Hebrew, because you gotta think twice with them, right? They don't want to have they don't want to have a reason to have to help us, right? Right. That's all it is. And then they don't want to have to deal with the consequences, right? You walking around. This is also why they don't come around us for real, because it's karma time, and you walking around with a weapon and you under judgment, like um, you know, and then you go into oh shoot. Let me pause that because I don't want to. All right, I am back. Right. I had to take a little quick stop there. But I forgot what I was talking about too, but it's cool. It's not really important. You've heard enough of it if I'm trying how to repeat it. It's talking about fusion. Fusion of light, right? Constant squared. 20 or 30. When one expands the physical universe on an order of metagalactic probability, so M approaches zero and C approaches minus infinity, and antimatter and annihilation is voided, and the function given is E, another one, HV, right, bridge vector, where V, they give you different definitions, but if you overstand, right, velocity of particle, this is like a 3D equation, um, expanded hyperdimensional matter. Um, This shows the special region where the properties of a physical and spiritual universe interact. See, they physical, like I said, they like 3D. So it's like this stuff. This is not even a. It's not even a thing like that. To me, it would more so be. equal in codes. So where it says where V equals not the crown, and M equals expanded hyperdimensional matter, um, stretched out. This is like some stuff that they did to, steal them keys. Our ancestors did this, um, but we didn't pervert it. So this would be like a science person trying to turn light into a 3D equation, but um, it could also represent numbers if you understand that V is 5 and then you know what M is and then C. But you don't need all of that. So it's just like, I don't even see our ancestors doing that part unless they was the ones who were like more 3D, to where they would try to equation it out. Okay, when one back to 30, when one expands the physical universe, that's opening up that portal. So, like us, this is Christ entering in his, when the Heavenly Father tells him enter in Son, he makes it to that place where he enters in, and then the physical. This is going through that door we was telling y'all about, leaving the physical universe, right? This is a metagalactic situation. So, like, they're saying you have to be of M, which M is probably saying matter, melanin, things of that nature. When it approaches zero, right, that's your reset. And C is 3 times 10 10, right? 10 10, right? 3 cm per second, right? It approaches the minus infinity. Um, these are like, this is where they get ritual attacks from, on how to minus somebody forever, right? This is bad. Um, this is saying when you use your light, whenever you become sealed up, whenever you become that light body pyramid, and you're able to sustain your bubble, keep your bubble. Daddy gives you the bubble. Um, this is saying, when you do it, when you go through your gate, when you enter in, you don't become a minus infinity. The minus infinity is for the antimatter. This is what I said when I said people erase themselves from the future. Um, those who followed the truth, those who followed this shepherd, is what it's saying. They were able to avoid like they said, it's your annihilation is avoided, right? And then it says, and the function given as blank, and then they explain it, is expanded hypermatter dimensional. So they're saying you avoid it, so you get to, this almost sounds like a life equation. So light would be like life. Um, and let's see, keep going here. Physical and spiritual universe interact. This is a coming together. This sounds like that ladder coming down, Jacob's ladder coming down to the planet, which would cause it to interact with the physical universe and the spiritual universe. This is your beam me ups, right? Um, thus the L 2032. Thus the L function represents the light conversion, which is necessary for light to pass through new thresholds. Yep, that's your beam me up. That's the beam. That's the light beam that you go up. It's an L function, right? Because it's coming from that L what? The L conversion, right? All Elohim functions, right? Conjunctions, functions. Um, the light conversions, right? It's necessary for light to pass through the threshold. You can't pass through it if you have not completed these processes, because you just can't. It ain't gonna allow you. It ain't gonna accept you. It ain't gonna acknowledge you. Um, you have nothing in common with it, right? Because you studied the wrong light. Um, which could have characteristics of antimatter and not explode, right? Um, they're basically saying that this helps you to make sure you're more good than you're bad, so that when you pass through, um, You know, you the planet doesn't discharge you or something like that. Like when the planet evolves, you want to make sure you've gotten as good as you can. Um, so you can ride up with it. You won't explode through the next one, even though you still got work to do on yourself, right? The planet will accept the good in you because there's more. While you can work on the bad. Yeah, it's like catching a ride up, is what it's saying. 33. I guess we're still going. This is long. What am I, 135? Um, Enoch told me the Midway Councils also, right? There's councils, right? There's guardians. Also connect to form special threshold commands necessary to prevent forms of galactic intelligence of one dimension from intervening and completely destroying planetary species in other galactic dimensions. Did you hear that? Um, these are the people that are bad, that they can't go, and there are councils that stand there and prevent them from going. To violate the universe, the uniformity, these are the bad ones. They've already been deemed bad. I told y'all this. To violate the uniformity of the life threshold by a warring intelligence, right? They would be a warring intelligence. A warring intelligence is not very intelligent. If you overstand that, this is just somebody who just wants to fight, 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 right? It's not an intelligence at all. Um, a species intelligence is more of an intelligence. A warring intelligence would be just more of a knowing the art of war would be more of a warring intelligence. The bad ones, they don't. They're down there in that other space, right? The council said you can't come in. You go downstairs. They're down there because they didn't have the proper warring intelligence. The intelligence to say, yeah, you don't war with the creator of all life and death, right? When he shows up, or when he has, shown you enough signs to let you know um, you messed up, right? You don't want to war with that one. That's what it's saying. And here it goes. To violate the uniformity of the life threshold by a warring intelligence necessitates intervention from the nearest threshold command through high-frequency vehicles capable of discorporating any vehicle if necessary. That means the chariots have the right and will do what they need to do. They're like cops in the sky, which violates cosmic law. Look at that. The chariots are the laws, y'all. They're the angels. We said that. Cosmic law is just angelic law. And they're telling you that's what I get Wakanda from, right? They want to be able to go fly those chariots and they can't, right? And they NASA can't do nothing like that. They trying to fly up. Um, that's crazy that this is here. Um, and it's telling them they will do. They operate through high frequency, so they know what. It's just like they know what you're doing. Um, they're capable of discorporating any vehicle if necessary, right? Which violates cosmic law. Um, Hold on, which violates cosmic law? That necessitates intervention from the nearest threshold command through high frequency vehicles capable of any vehicle if necessary which violates cosmic law. So they're kept from intervention um, from the nearest threshold command. That means that they are kept from going towards the future, y'all. The nearest threshold command, time moves forward, so the nearest threshold command will be the next council at the gate, which would be the future. This is what I said. If they remove themselves from the future, so as they move forward on the threshold towards um, you know, towards the threshold council, um, they get removed, man. like they're capable, which means they have the right to, to do these things. But why does it say which violates cosmic law? Let's keep reading. Thereby, the threshold command has the power to judge. There we go. Okay. Um, if you is so if you violate the cosmic law, um, they have the command has the power to judge the planetary civilization as a threat, right? To the spiritual evolution of the given planet, and thus removes its prerogative to evolve as a citizen. I just told y'all that the planet has the right to kick your ass if it wants to, and the angels and the chariots and everything else that's here on the spiritual evolution has the right to kick their asses um, for trying to stop our civilization that's happening. Um, because they're trying to stop us from evolving. They're trying to stop us from gathering. They're trying to stop us from, stuff like that. And so it's like they don't really do that because the planet kicks their ass. Just like I said, the planet kicks their ass every time they mess with us. So it's like which is worse? Which is going to be a bigger problem here? Leaving that Hebrew alone, who just enjoying their day, or messing with them, and then we got a whole city flooded now because of what you did. So we got lost all that stuff. We got to evacuate people. We don't really know where they're going to go right now. Our resources are already thin. The farmers are not doing so great because the planet's changing, so we know their crops ain't really up to speed. Do you see, or it's flooded or it had been burned up, so it's like less. It's like things like that. Um, the consequences are great. So this is saying that the cosmic laws and the angelic laws have the right to judge, to rain hell down upon people who are on the planet who are living outside of the laws, like I said, right? Um, because they're a threat to the spiritual evolution of this planet, right? So they get removed, is what it said. Everywhere you look, it says removal. Um, they get removed, is what it's saying. 34, since it's still going. Some of the threshold commands of the sons of light existing in various dimensions are located in our local universe in the regions of there's your alpha, your rho, your gamma, your beta, your delta, the epsilon, the blue. I'm not going to say those because I don't deal with, you know, I don't think highly of them. Um, so this is why they use that. So it's in the keys of Enoch, which lets you know what, it's not Greek. Um, and look at that. The last one, it says Sagittarius. What? That's not a They got Scorpio. Oh, well, that's interesting. These are this is something else going on here now. If you can see that code, try to crack it, right? Then we've got some numbers. Now I was going into astrology, right? Um, let's just keep going down. 35, right? Because you really don't need to, that's just some code stuff. Like, whatever. Um, in our local universe, the Midway Station exemplifies a living son of light in the image of the higher creation, just as Orion bears the image of the creator gods. Um, so Orion is basically a Christ constellation, is what it's saying. Yeah, that's probably why they always watching it. Um, I watch it too, though. But it's saying that it's, you know, the king, the king, right? A living son of light, a living son. He's in the image of his heavenly father, just as Orion is in the image of the heavenly son. So yeah, that's a good thing. The heavenly son. 36. Thus the midway station prepare the gathering of the seed into the star seed, right? As it is remade and revolved according to star knowledge, emanated from the greater universe Orion, right? So just like how I was talking about Earth and talking about Pluto, you're talking about the sun, what the moon does. They all do things to you, the planets. Um, it's saying that Orion, honey, the stars of Orion, um, they actually help in this evolutionary process. So they can't block Orion, right? They gonna block a whole constellation, right? They been putting clouds up there day and night, honey. But it's like the winds. But because the blocking the stars, and it does not do anything when it's dealing with light, because light can go through the clouds, right? This star knowledge is, when the children of Israel, they wake up and they're able to plug into these downloads and receive, knowledge and stuff like that from the greater universe. A part of that is because of Orion. 37. These midway stations ensure the evenness of transition in the higher heavens while preparing man for the great day of deliverance, right? And you are your Yam or into a new radiance of light. Um, these midway stations, right? These are very important. Like I said, um, they help you balance out so that you can transition into the higher heavens, right? That's that heaven, that earth, while preparing. It's making it possible so you can. So it's like a inner preparation, and on the outside you're being prepared for the great day of deliverance, right? Which is this Yom or this is something that our people should have been taught, but they were not taught. They sitting up waiting on the deliverance from Jesus, and Jesus ain't showing them no signs of deliverance. Um, he's not even in the picture. You've got politicians in the picture, right? What the hell is going on? Um, while preparing man for the great day of deliverance, right? The great day of deliverance is what? Um, for them, um, their great day of deliverance is their sacrifice to the beast when he takes them, right? He delivers them into the threshold of the other side. Um, that's what they don't tell them. So, the synagogues of the Jews, um, and they're not the Jews, but the synagogues of Satan. They believe in sacrifice. So, everybody over there has a day of deliverance. Um, they either have a day of deliverance by the Heavenly Father, or they have a day of deliverance by the Heavenly Father through the hands of men. So, that just means your day of death. In other words, that's what I see it as. Um, that's for the lower heavens. The higher heavens, that's your day of rebirth, right? It's when your day of deliverance is where you wake up and you say, I'm not African American, I'm an American Indian, right? That puts you in a different bracket of jurisdiction. Um, and then having the higher heavens, that's you saying, I'm not just an American Indian, I'm a royal American Indian. I'm not just that, I'm a holy royal American Indian. Do you see? Um, that would be our Yam or. That yo, that's your Ya, that's that symbol flipped upside down that they showed you. And then that's just that's your AM, that's your rising. That's your figuring out that you Israel, you ain't no African, right? I mean, there's so many things that you could say about that, like, They don't deal with the people of color no way. Like they just don't. Um, they just they're not our people is what I'm trying to say, and they know it. So it's like the media uses it how they want to use it, but then it's like even the people that's over here make it very clear that that shit's a lie. Like history lets you know that that's a lie. Everything that's just going on in the world, like we don't even look like the same. We don't have the same phenotypes, the same structures, the same walks, the same spirits about us. Nothing. Um, you can literally tell us apart, like to whereas it used to just be everybody was color, but now it's like you can tell, and the way their mannerisms, the way they do things, the way they speak, the way they dress. Um, your day of deliverance is either going to be your death or your rebirth, is what I'm saying. And the only people who will get a rebirth when this day of death comes is those who are supposed to get a rebirth. Um, so you go into your right? They try to turn it into your amen. Just why you have amen, you have amen ra, you have you have you have ark, right? Ma, you have angel, could be Michael, right? It's a lot of things, but it also says Amar, which is just your Amara, which is our tomorrow. Nobody can claim that but an heir of Yah, your Yam, your mom. Um, trying to figure out, and this is your or, right? That or, this is basically your benai or, right? This is what's inside of you. This is your origin, right? Um, if you come from the real Genesis, when you went through your day of deliverance, when you died, if you died or when you died in your belief systems, whatever it was, um, this is basically you. Your day of deliverance is the day that you decide to pour out that cup and start over again and let the Most High fill you up, right? You stop drinking the dregs and you decided to drink the blessings. So you went into the radiance of light. It's a new radiance of light for you because you were kept into captivity, right? Um, it's something new that we are experiencing. Uh, it's a liberation that only the Heavenly Father can give you. It's a cup that only He can give you. Um, you know, that's that radiance of light. So 38, Orion is responsible for this. And Orion is always in our sky, not always, but it's a main constellation. So in other words, the planets help you, the stars help you. Like we said, nature helps us, the animals help us. It's our avatar, right? Avatar jungle. Our avatar jungle is just the Garth of Eden. And if you ain't a Garth, then you ain't getting in. And if you don't roll with Eden, you ain't getting in, right? Eden, right? I mean, you just coming in there to mess it up, just like they said in these keys, uh, where it says you violating the cosmic law. So the threshold command has the permission to discorporate any vehicle if necessary, right? Which is violating these laws. So um, it's almost like the planet is self governing itself, um, and people try to act like everything's okay. It is okay. This is normal. This is normal. Um, it's normal now. If you overstand your in, we all should be at a level where we overstand these prophecies and stuff like that. Last one, 38. And these are the things that are sealed up, which the Most High reveals only to those who have passed through the threshold of living fire to behold the throne of His Majesty. Right. These are the things that are sealed up. Which sealed up, okay, not meaning they think it because they don't teach you or they don't tell you it's sealed up, and that's not true. A lot of us woke up and were able to receive downloads and learn things that we learned through the radiance of light, and not because we didn't know it was in a book until after the fact. Do you see? So the light On the day of deliverance, the light is going to come to you if it's supposed to. Nobody can keep that back because it's coming from heaven. It's not coming from Satan. Do you see what I'm saying? It goes directly where it's supposed to. So they're saying that in these days, when it's the day of deliverance, right? You either doomed or you're not. He reveals things to certain individuals who made it through these thresholds. You made it into these gates. Remember when I said go through the fire? We went through the fire to get on the other side, right? We're in his house to behold the throne of his majesty, right? In Daddy's house is what it's saying. Um, so when this shepherd shows up, all this stuff goes down. Um, this inner DNA process happens. That when the kings are up, it's because the king is up, right? When the people are up, it's because the majesty's up. Um, when the planet is up, it's because the Elohim is up, right? When the real Israel is up, it's because the Most High Abiyah is up, right? That's what this is saying. This is all this stuff. It's kind of confusing if you don't know all of that to put it in there. Some of this don't even need to be in here. This is why they stay using codes too. It's like that stuff does not matter anymore. Um, it didn't matter before, Daddy will trick you. Uh, but all this, it tells you it's all El conversion. So if you're not the Lord, you're not the land of the Lord, you're not the El Elohim, you're not of El Shadi, you're not even of Israel, right? There's your El, Israel, right? You're not a ray, you're not a light, you're not a beam. Um, you know, so don't look at the man that you see. That's not him. That's just an illustration that somebody drew. And then they try to put ancient scriptures there and try to make you think that that constitutes as, an ancient image. And it's like, that's not true. Um, right? That was a really good key. It was interesting, though. So that, again, was keys. That is the ending of keys 201. And we just read, where did I start? Hold on. 20 all the way to 38, and that was pages 184 to 186. So that was interesting. That was really interesting. You ain't never heard a messianic story like that, have you? Uh, but yeah, it's basically saying when the people up is because, it's time. That's your 400 years is up. If your 400 years is up, that means the people are up. If the people are up, that means the kingdom is up. If the kingdom is up, that means the king is up. If the king is up, that means the majesty is up. Majesty is up, that means the Elohim is up. If the Elohim is up, that means the Abiyah was here. So, when you see things in the sky, people don't like to look up, right? That's interesting. So, don't mind the signs and the BS that people put out there in the world. Um, see the signs that matter, right? And just tell yourself, you chose life in the world where death is here to collect, right? So, it is what it is. It is what it is, baby. Let's sit back and look at nature a little bit. I like those and notice how you've got the leaves here falling. Um, right? Let's see if we can get some more. Let's see if we can get the squirrels up there running around. Well, they was up there. Maybe they'll come back. We'll see. But like a part of your wholeness comes with when you step into your calling, right? It's like I don't have to talk to anybody about what's happening with the planet unless I choose to, right? Because they have their. It's like in the time when I forgot what story that was when Pharaoh had his own magicians, and then there were the prophets and stuff, and it's like when the prophets would come and things would happen, it would really be the Heavenly Father. And then when the Pharaoh would have his magicians do it, it would be magic tricks and stuff like that. So it's like we living in those times again. But it's like the Pharaoh ain't got no magic tricks, you know? That's kind of fun.